As a preliminary matter, Joyce Maturis, Chair of the Newbury Council on Aging Board of Directors, permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Oh, there's Janine.
Sorry, was having trouble signing on.
Oh, glad to see you, though. We've lost Sandy, so but we'll continue with the papers. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Janine Cunningham.
Yes.
Jerry Dorr.
Yes.
Bill DeMaio. Help me out, Bill.
The easy way is to say DeMaio.
DeMaio, thank you.
And the answer is yes.
Thank you. Evelyn Noyes.
Yes.
Sandy, I don't see, but she's also not in the state, so we'll just wait and see how she makes out. And Joyce Maturis, yes. And now I'm going to say the staff. Cindy Currier,
Yes.
yes. And
Karen Spangler, she's actually on the telephone right now, but
Okay.
she's here. Yep.
all right. I don't see any anticipated speakers, so I'm going to state none. And here we go. The introduction to the remote meeting. Good afternoon. This day of January 25th, open meeting of COA Board of Directors is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to migrate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. This order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded, so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For this meeting, Council on Age Board of Directors is convening by telephone conference, video conference via Zoom, as posted on the agenda of the COA Board of Directors section of the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that the attendees are participating by video and/or telephone conference. We provided to the board committee members material prior to the meeting for review, or there was no material for the meeting distributed. Applicants or their representatives may call upon to speak, and if needed, share information to the screen. Please state intentions after you have been called. Meeting business ground rules. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules. For effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure an accurate meeting, I, the chair, will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone. Number 6 is to toggle mute, unmute, or computer mute button when you are not speaking. Please use earbuds, earphones with tablets and cell phones. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. Please be aware that the video participants can see you and that you should take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. Board committee members should be called upon in first name, alphabetic order to ease the process. If the board committee members wish to engage in familiar conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. And then we have public comment. After the board members have spoken, the chair will afford the public comment as follows. You know, we don't have any public here, so I'm going to skip over that. I hope that's within the realm, but there's nobody here with us except the board members and Michael. Okay, so finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. Additional agenda items will be called upon and handled in the same manner. Any additional preliminary comment items should be tailored to each meeting. So let's call the meeting. Oh, Sandy. Hi there. You got to unmute yourself.
Hello. Sorry, I had trouble getting in.
We figured that's what was happening. So I just want to affirm that you are here.
Yes.
Okay. So let's, on the agenda, Cindy, what's the first item? Reviewing the minutes?
So your call to order and then review and approval of the December 21st meeting minutes.
Okay, thank you. So let's call the meeting to order. And at 1:12, I think will work. And then if I could ask for the members to review the minutes, and then we'll put it up for a vote of approval. Does anybody want to make a motion to approve the minutes when you're ready?
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes as written.
Second the motion.
Thank you. And Cindy, are you up next? Is it your turn to speak?
Next is the expenses, the review of the expenses,
Yes.
and then my update. So starting with expenses, we had, let's see. So I did this under two different accounts. The first account being just our general expense account. The first one is for Ready Refresh, which is our water delivery service here. That was $19.94. I have several Amazon charges. A lot of it was like office supplies and things like that. So I have $11.07, $51.26, $37.72, and $64.69. I can go back through and if you need specifics, one thing I can tell you, the $11.07 was for a new battery for the flashlight for the van. And then a lot of it is, like I said, office supplies. Some of it was the sealing, the mailing label seals to send out the newsletter, things like that.
I think that's
Okay. And then Karen Spangler, we had an expense for $35.99. We needed her to run out and get more mailing labels for the newsletter as we were kind of in the throes of that. So that's that. The other account that we used was the Elder Services COVID Relief Grant. I used those for, so when we did our grab and go in January, we put a little word search booklet and a pencil into each grab and go, just as a way to kind of reach out to people, give them something to do along with the meal that we gave them. So that expense is on here, the pencils, the word search books for February. We're doing a little, February is Heart Health Month. So we did a little heart-shaped stress ball. We're going to do, not in this expense, but in the next one is a little chocolate and a little Valentine to go with it. So just a little something to give them as they get their grab and go meal. But for this month, again, it's the, we did the heart stress ball. That was $38.91. And that's because we increased the number of meals. We did 20 for the month of January. We're doing 35 for the month of February. We're trying to increase it. The more we get interest in it, and we're trying to get the word out. So we're doing 35. So that's why that increase went out. The snowflake pencil, they're pencils with a little snowflake on them. We wanted to send something kind of, so that was $18.98. The large print word search booklets was $62.84. And then we had to, because we got information after the newsletter was printed about the February grab and go meal and the heart healthy nutrition call that we're doing this Thursday, that information came to us after we had sent all of our stuff to the printer. So we had to have that flyer printed to put into the newsletter to send out. So that was another expense, and it was $230.98. And I put that under the COVID relief grant because it's considered outreach to get this information out to people for programs that we want them to participate in. So I put it under that COVID relief grant. Sandy, if you have an issue with the numbers that I gave you, let me know. I can send you an email specific with those.
Okay.
All right, so those are our expenses. And then if you're good, I can go right into my update.
Yeah.
All right, so the first thing is donations that we received. Thanks to Mike and the Santa Claus pictures, and I think you did some Zoom things. We got a bunch of donations. I got a total of $100. There was $25 from Paul and Ann Colby. Mike, you had a check for $60.
That was
You,
cash.
Leslie.
People give me cash, so I just put it into a check form.
Okay, so I didn't have specific names from that, so that's why you got my thank you note. I hope you got it.
I did reach out to those people.
Perfect. Okay, and then Cheryl and Richard Cox. So that was $15. So a total of $100 there. We also got a check from Mr. David Loring. He sent a check for $200 with a note that said, donation to keep supporting your work. All the best. So that was very generous.
Very nice.
And then we got a donation of $50 from Michael and Melissa Stanton, again from Mike's Santa Zoom calls. So that was awesome. So those are our donations that we received. We mailed out 2,199 newsletters. We sent that out last week. So those went out in the mail. There was 80 plus of them that we emailed. We also posted on the website. We pushed it out on social media. So information got out there. One thing that we put in there was that our van driver, Alice Rogers, had retired. And that van rides are on hold for the time being. We're trying to hire someone new. Well, we've hired someone new, and he's going to be going through the training. His name is Jim Long. Bill actually knows him. And everything should be all set. I just need to double check with Diane Doyle over at Town Hall, but I believe she met with him and all of his paperwork is in order. Everything is good to go. He actually came this morning. We went and sat in the van. He adjusted the mirrors. He's ready to go. So what we'd like to do, in addition to him going through these trainings that he has to go through, we can actually use him right now. So we talked to him about restarting the grocery shopping. We're going to reach out to the people who used to go grocery shopping. The last grocery shopping, we did it, I think, twice since I've been here, and it was one person only. And then COVID numbers increased and people just stopped. But I think the last actual shopping trip was last March. So we have a list of people, and Janet, our outreach coordinator, is going to reach out to them tomorrow just to say, hey, we're good to go if you'd like to start. My thought is people probably hold off until they get their vaccine. But after that, I'm kind of hoping things will pick up pretty quickly. We're also going to be able to offer it for other errands that people need to do. If you need to go to CVS or a medical appointment, we do have a few NEAT drivers that we're going to utilize for those medical appointments. But if none are available on the day that the person needs to go, we'd like to have the van as an option. So that should be moving. Virtual programs have started. Kind of. We're trying to put out as much as we can. And Karen and I met with Ethan, who is the cable operations specialist, to come up with a schedule, because we want to be able to say to people, check out Channel 9 on these days at these times, and you'll see programs from the Council on Aging. The newsletter that just went out, we didn't have our meeting with him, so we kind of did a broad, check out Channel 9, but it's, you don't know when. You know, it was kind of broad, so we're trying to sort of clamp that down with him. But we had a New Year's Eve fire and light show that's running through the month of January. It's like lasers and music and sparklers and things like that. She did kind of cool things. Elder Services has a program called All Things Aging, and it's hosted by 2 of the employees from Elder Services, and then they reach out to other people. For example, one of the ones we're showing is on Shine, so about Medicare. So open enrollment was in the fall, and that's all done, but people turning 65 that want to learn more about Medicare and what their options are, they can call us. We can connect them to the Shine counselor. So that was one way to get information out about that. Another program that we're showing from Elder Services is about caregiver support. Karen's also working on, she's been in touch with attorney Margot Burke. I was in touch with her in the fall. Karen's touched base with her and had a Zoom meeting. So she's working on a program to talk about life planning documents, healthcare proxy, power of attorney, wills, things like that. Talk about the importance of those type of documents and why you need to have them. She's willing to do that as a program for us free of charge that we can put out on the cable station. So we're waiting for that, and then it will get up there. Chris Howe is the yoga instructor for the library. Karen hooked up with her. She's recorded 1 session already for us that we're going to be showing, and then we're going to try and get to do a couple more just to get some exercise out to people. We have another yoga studio called Roots to Wings. They're going to record a meditation program. It's an hour-long meditation program that we're going to get up on the cable station. We also have 2 musical tributes. One is Frank Sinatra and one is Neil Diamond. I believe the Frank Sinatra one is going to be done in February, and then we're going to run the Neil Diamond one in March. And the beauty of that March one will be, we can get it out in the newsletter, hopefully have a better sort of listing of programs in the newsletter for people to know when to tune in. So that's a bunch of virtual programs we've got going.
Waiting on the Aberdeen.
Yeah, and we're waiting on a home care company that had sent us a link about how to navigate the emergency room, and the link didn't work. So we're working with them and with Ethan over at the cable station to try and get that one out.
If I may, I'm also working with a restaurant in Newburyport that's going to do a Zoom cooking class for us.
Oh, very nice.
We have reached out to a winery to see if we can get that, like a virtual wine tasting, virtual sort of tour of what they do. We're having a little bit of difficulty hooking up with them. So we
many
might,
places are closed.
yeah. So we might be reaching out maybe a little bit further than just what's close by here. So we'll keep you guys posted.
I just had with the theater workshop.
Oh, sure.
If I may, I just now had a call from a woman who was referred to us by a woman who is on the Board of Selectmen in town. She oversees the theater workshop, which I guess is housed here at the Newbury Elementary School. It's been around for almost 20 years. And she would like to do a partnered programming with us where this spring they would go to the children would go to the home of a senior and outside, socially distant, do a little brief, maybe short poem reading or a little musical thing or a little drama, a little music song, kind of called Hello Spring. And they would bring some flowers and just try to bring a little joy to a senior that's maybe been isolated and homebound through COVID and through the winter. So we're working on that for in April. She also has interest in creating kind of a one-to-one program between members of their theater workshop group and a senior, where a relationship could develop either via Zoom, FaceTime, what have you, where the workshop student would maybe help to do somewhat of what I would call life review. So for instance, they would interview the senior, and the senior would tell them that, oh, that they grew up in a farm in New York State, and they grew potatoes, and they loved, I don't know, whatever. And that this workshop student would maybe help to develop a little music or a little scrapbook or ways to reach out to that person that would connect them to their past. So she and I are just literally, I just hung up with her. So we're going to try to massage that a little bit to try to introduce that for March and April.
Awesome.
We'll see where that goes.
Cindy, before you start again, Jerry has a question.
Sure,
Have
please.
you considered, instead of doing it at a senior's home, at an elderly complex like Evelyn runs?
Yes, as far as COVID wise, we would have to kind of be careful. The idea was to be outside.
Outside, yeah.
Yeah, but we can, yeah, I can check with their availability and
Great idea, ladies.
see what we can do.
We'll be talking to you, Evelyn, about what
Okay.
our opportunities are for outside, like at Oak Ridge and Quaker Hill, if you have a
If I-
spot.
Yeah. And Evelyn, it's Karen. I'd like to be able to promote some things on flyers at your place if I can.
Certainly.
Okay, good.
All right, we'll get stuff to you. So we did our second grab and go last Wednesday on Inauguration Day. Funny enough, it was
Yeah.
a crazy day, but we
Crazy.
had, we actually did 30 meals. So December, we did 20, January, we did 30. That's one that we put the word search book into. That went really well. We had actually 28 people call to reserve meals, or 28 meals were reserved. And then we had 2 people who said, oh, I'd like to have 2. So we just happened to have enough. That's why I bumped it up to 35, was just in case we had any of those kind of extras or a last minute person, I wanted to have a little bit extra. But that went really well. I think part of the reason why it was a little bit slow on the reservation side was it was chilly last week, and a lot of people were kind of hesitant about that. But next month is a chicken and vegetable stir fry. So we've already got more than half of the meals reserved. So hopefully more people will be calling us. But again, that went out in that flyer in the newsletter, and it's posted online. We do have that Heart Healthy Nutrition Zoom program this Thursday. And Joyce, you were saying 10 o'clock. I have it at 11.
Okay, that's great.
Okay, all right. So we do have it scheduled for 11 a.m. I know Joyce has signed up. Bill, I sent it to you. We have one of our volunteers who signed up. If anyone else needs to have, if you'd love to join us, I can send you the Zoom link. So just let me know and I can certainly send that out to you. Library book delivery. Alice used to take the van on Fridays with one of the librarians and do homebound book deliveries. And then obviously she retired. What Karen came up with was having 2 volunteers for the COA do those library book deliveries. So now we're partnering with the library still. We're still reaching those people who are homebound and can't get out to get their library books and other materials. And Karen's got 2 volunteers doing that. Did you want to speak about that at all?
Yeah, this was week 2, and as far as I know, things went well. The 2 volunteers go to the library, pick up material, they take it to the recipient's home. It's a drop off, and then they return any material going back to the library. From what I understand, it's gone well. It's a win-win. The volunteers feel like they're contributing to the quality of life of these individuals, and the library folks are feeling like they're, got a good outreach here. So,
And I honestly think there was only a lull for maybe a couple of weeks in
Yeah.
that program. And actually part of it was over the holidays. So the 2 Fridays that were Christmas and New Year's, they weren't going to have deliveries anyways. But that was a pretty quick turnaround to get that up off the ground so that we could make sure there was no no lapse in that program. So we have those two volunteers helping us out. We had 2 volunteers help us again this month to get the newsletter prepped. Our plan for next month, we're hoping to get a little bit more engagement with volunteers in that sense. Next month, our plan is to reach out to at least 4 volunteers. We want to do 2 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon over the course of 2 days. So, I mean, it could be as many as 8 people, but we want to try and, engage the volunteers. And the newsletter, trust me, is
All
quite an
hands on
extensive, yeah,
deck.
it's quite an extensive process to
All
fold and
husbands,
everything.
everybody.
Yeah. So we will reach out to more volunteers to try and get some engagement on that sense. Karen, as far as talking about the volunteer program, Karen is working to really rejuvenate this. As Karen and I were going through, there's multiple file cabinets all around here, multiple different forms. We're trying to get everything uniform so that all the files for each of the volunteers looks the same. Everybody's query is in there, everybody's application, all their, right. So that's an administrative side of this thing that Karen is working on. She's also tracking volunteer hours.
And if I can ask, you as board members, you are volunteers. And so the time that you spend in a board meeting is volunteer time that we need to log. So if I can ask each of you to email me just a quick email that simply says, today, January, whatever we are, 25th, I spent whatever length of time, an hour, maybe you spent some time preparing for today's meeting as a board member, okay? That's enough for me to document and log your volunteer time. We're using my senior center as the means to create this volunteer log time. And so each month going forward, I will be creating a report for Cindy that will capture the volunteer time, whether it's board people, whether it's the newsletter people, those who go out and
Library.
shop, the library, and it will list all of those volunteer venues and the time that they are spent. And this is all good information that we need to have. It's good for us to report for elder services. It's also great to have for grant writing, to have this information available. It also, I think, makes a really good presentation to Town Hall, Board of Selectmen, to say this is how we're incorporating the use of volunteers into the life of the senior, to the Council on Aging. So if I can ask each of you to throw me an email, and you can do that just at, what am I?
COA town of
Newbury.
Newbury.org.
That would really help me. And because you guys are actual volunteers to the senior center as board members.
Or you can always shoot it to me and I
Yeah,
can make
to
sure Karen
Cindy
gets it.
and over to me. That'd be
Yep.
great. Thank you.
Speaking about my senior center, that's sort of a continual project for us here, is to try and update it. I had reached out to my senior center to import people that were not in the database. They were on a list that I got from Town Hall, but not necessarily in the database. Now there's a lot of sort of duplicates in there. We're working on that. We're working on just updating, making sure anytime someone calls, we're making sure we have the right information in there. Are they on our mailing list? Do they want to give us an email address? That kind of thing. So we're trying to get all of that information in the database updated. COVID vaccine has been a huge influx of phone calls here asking us when they can sign up for their COVID vaccine and where is it and how are they getting it and that kind of thing. So as it stands right now, I still do not have direction from the Board of Health. I did reach out to Tracy. The answer right now is as soon as we know something, we'll let you know. So I'm waiting. Hopefully with that news conference with the governor today saying that February 1st is the 75 plus, that's
Monday.
great.
That's this Monday.
But where are we sending people and whatnot? So hopefully I will have a little bit more information.
What he was saying today, they have drawn a map and they're bringing all these new places online.
Yep.
And there is now going to be a map on their website, mass,
Mass.gov.
.gov, injections, whatever. And I'm anxious myself to go on and see how they've done this.
Yeah,
They're really trying to upgrade the information.
yeah.
So that should tell you more as the days go on. And
Yeah.
they're bringing on a lot more places where you can go, and they're going to say when to call to make the appointment.
Okay. So hopefully too, I have been in touch with Deb Rogers over at the Board of Health.
Yeah, great.
And there's a new nurse over there. Her name escapes me. Kristen Jolivet, I think is her last name. So emails back and forth with them, trying to I just want to keep on top of the most current information. When people do call here, we let them know. Unfortunately, we don't know anything right now, but we
Yeah.
take their name and telephone number and let them know once we hear something, we'll give them a call back. So we have a pretty significant list.
We're probably right around 60 to 70
People.
inquiry, call it not
Yeah.
necessarily people, but an inquiry.
Okay.
All right.
So again, we're keeping that list and we'll get back to people as soon as we.
And they are using the Newburyport Council on Aging as an injection site, I believe.
I know they were doing that for first responders. I don't know if that's,
It probably will stay on board, but we'll see.
yeah. All right. So that's, as soon as we know something, obviously we'll push it out on our website, on the social media page and whatnot. And, whatever information we get, obviously we'll call these people whose numbers we have and then just be a
Ideally.
resource to people when they call.
And then,
Right.
if I may, we have had good comments about the veteran.
Oh, yes.
The veterans, if I may, are the VA in Bedford. We've had people who have used it and it seems to be smoothly running, going well, although there's some people reluctant to drive to Bedford, but,
So Bill, as a veteran, did you know you can get your vaccine already?
Actually, the VA sent me an email
yeah.
asking my intention that I want to have the vaccine and I would be vaccination. And I said, yes, I would be interested, but I have not heard from them because of medical reasons and age. I haven't heard from them, but
All right,
was
I'm going to shoot you
fortunate-
an email with the phone number that they gave us. So I'll shoot you that telephone number and you call and let us know what happens when you call. But as far as I know,
No, Cindy, I'm all set.
You sure?
Because I'm a constable in town, Chief Lucy sent us an email and the 4
Perfect.
constables got vaccinated
Okay.
as with the first responders at the Newburyport
Perfect.
COA.
okay.
Thank you, though.
All right. If you know anyone else though who's a vet and you want to have them call us, we can give them that number. Any of you,
Perfect.
if you know someone who's a vet, because they can do it now.
Jim Long would
so-
probably be interested. He's a vet.
We talked to him today.
Okay,
Yep.
good.
Yep.
Good.
So there's that. But again, like Karen said, the feedback she got was it was really,
It went smoothly.
yeah, very smooth. And then the last thing is just like I asked you guys before, anything we post on Facebook, if you can like it, it just helps get the message out there to more people. And that's all I got.
Oh, very good. Thank you. Does anybody have a particular question for Cindy? If you want to raise your hand. Oh, okay, Sandy, go ahead.
I'd like to go back to when you mentioned the donations, the $60 one, I didn't get the name.
So that was actually, Mike gave us the check for $60, but he had got cash from several people.
Oh,
It was, why don't you put it from the Santa Fund or Mike Santa? What would you want to call it, Michael?
Santa photos?
Santa photos, that's fine.
Okay,
okay, great. Thank you. That's all.
all right, thank you. Well, Cindy, that all sounds good. Thank you so much. And you too, Karen. It's nice to have you two working away at this and helping with the seniors and keeping
Okay.
everybody
We've got a
in your
good team.
thoughts and what you can do for them. Thank you.
You got it.
Good team.
So I have to say, I printed out the agenda, and as I was sitting here, I'm saying, I don't have the agenda. And I said, oh, it's upstairs. So that's why I've been asking you, Cindy, where are we now?
The next one is other business.
Other business. Okay, I'm going to start with you on that, Sandy. And did you want to say a few words about the survey?
Sure. First, apologies for sending 8 million emails for you guys to look at it. But as you know, when you went in it, it would eliminate some of the items. Anyway, long story short, Susan spent weekend time actually updating it. And I think most of you have seen it. And thank you. You've told me that there is a spelling error, rice instead of ride, which we will do. And Cindy also mentioned that she would like the email, but Cindy, we put the email at the end and made it more optional because I find I kind of found it a little off-putting to demand your email and then have to go in and because it was 2 steps, you'd have to go in and come back to the council and say, I don't want you to have my email. And I didn't want it that way.
Yep.
So at the end, it has, you can submit your email if you want newsletters via email. And the only required item you need to answer is where you're from. So I think that all that will be a lot more user-friendly and less invasive to people. I don't know about you, but I'm very cautious what I answer on the web, and I don't like to have questions that are personal. So if everybody agrees and I fix that rice to ride, I'd like to get her to put that up this week and finally get going on it.
It's fine with me. Why don't we
Want to vote?
take a vote on it? That'll be great.
Thank you.
So you want to make the motion, please, someone?
So moved.
Okay, the motion is to approve the survey to be put up on the Town of Newbury's website and sent out to the general public.
This week, next week.
So, Jerry? Thank you. Janine?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Evelyn?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
And Joyce, I approve. I didn't miss anybody, did I?
Thank you.
We're all good. Thank you, Sandy, for everything you've done on this survey. I'm sure it was pretty frustrating at times. So the next thing as far as business on the agenda is grants. From what I can understand, or I've asked a few people that have spent a few years on the council, they do not recall ever receiving a grant. And this is a grant that was posted on the Massachusetts Council on Aging on January 20th, 21. And it's for field demonstration projects. And it is funded by the elderly service. And it's to provide direct grants to the COAs for 3 following projects: respite, alternative, supportive day, social isolation, loneliness, and food insecurity. You can put a grant in for all 3, or you can just go for one. And the 200,000 is going to be split up amongst those that are approved. And they have they say time is of the essence. I'm sure it is with all grants, but they have some instructions here. The first thing is going to be there's going to be a bidders conference Zoom meeting, and that's going to be tomorrow between 2 and 3, and you have to register it. And the link is online, and it's a question and answering time if you have questions about the grant. Then you can submit some questions in writing. And they will answer the questions that were on Zoom, and they'll answer the questions that were submitted by writing by February 5th. And the other thing is you have to complete the intent to bid form by February 12th. That there is enough to just get us started, but it's kind of intense when I look at it, but but the thing is, if we were doing these on a regular basis when we see them, I think it was something that we would learn to do, and it wouldn't be difficult. Nothing's easy, but it wouldn't be so you say, oh my gosh, this is a lot of work. But I would really like to see if we could send something in. But we're going to need a grant writer. I can't imagine myself doing this, and no, the time factor to do it. So I didn't know if any of you know of grant writers, and I don't know what they would cost. So I would like to, if we can, form a grant committee. Does that sound like that? Would there be any volunteers to be on the grant committee and start to get involved with this? Oh, thank you, Jerry.
I have a question.
Oh, I thought you were
All right.
volunteering. Boy, I grabbed you.
$200,000, how many COAs are applying for this?
Quite a few, I'm sure, but I don't know that. But we got to start somewhere.
I
And
think it also depends on what you're asking for the money for. You have to be very
Right.
specific about what you want.
now, have you
So-
given any thought to that, Cindy?
I hadn't, I figured I would throw it out. The only thing that sort of caught my eye in terms of social isolation, and I think this might be really good here, is purchasing something like iPads to be able to loan out to people. And then teaching people how to do Zoom or how to use it for email or some way to keep in contact with family or friends, or to get on things like this nutrition thing on Thursday. If I could say, oh, you don't have a computer at home, or, you can borrow this iPad from the Council on Aging. That's
Because-
the one thing that I thought would be.
Why don't we explain to Jerry that they'll pay for internet? I mean, the money can be used, let's see, purchasing electronic devices for older adults to use at home, whether it be short-term loan or long-term, providing one-on-one training for devices, purchase the internet connection for older adults and caregivers of isolated older adults who otherwise do not have the internet access. Telephone reassurance with training for staff, volunteers, and active listing. A home visit to the door of an older adult with a goodie bag, a craft project, word search books, along with a newsletter on an information how to contact the COA outreach, and a pen pal program that pairs students and older adults. We would provide them with the stationery and the stamps, pair up older adults who share a common hobby of cooking and handiwork, reading to communicate through the telephone or Zoom. I'm sure there's lots of elders out there. A lot of them don't want anything to do with it. But I'm sure if we started making some calls through outreach, and if we could use the iPads alone, that would be so wonderful to give an elder shot in an iPad.
My only concern about paying for internet connection, like, how does that, like, how is it?
I don't know.
who sets
I'll
it
ask
up and
that
then,
question tomorrow.
yeah,
If I-
like, I did sign up for that as well. I haven't gotten did you get an email from them with an actual Zoom link? Okay, I haven't gotten that yet.
Doesn't Comcast have a program that does it
I
free?
think they
Called
do.
Internet Essentials.
We could look into that also. I mean, this is the only grant, there's 3 of them, and this is the only one that I saw that I thought would be usable for us. Go ahead, Jerry.
What about the food insecurity one, pairing up with the group in Newbury support I forget her name, and the young kids that are doing that planting and delivering and the farmers market and everything. And they're very active in terms of partnering. They're already in existence.
Um,
I forget
don't
what her
know.
name is. She's some doctor's wife.
Our neighbor's table, does that sound?
No. Mike, do you know who I'm speaking of?
Is it Nourishing the North Shore?
I'm not
Yes.
sure.
Nourishing the North Shore.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an existing program
Yeah,
that if it's just to have a discussion with, so they've already written a grant. They know how to do this. And if we partnered with them, you'd have almost, see, I don't know if you can afford to hire a grant writer. I don't know what they charge, but 200, you're not going for $200,000. Put your money there, and then all of a sudden, if a grant writer takes 10%, you don't have a lot of money.
Right,
Right. Right.
you're right.
And
Sorry.
actually, Karen and I had talked about doing something like those, the craft kits they're talking about. Using
Yeah.
some of that grant money we already have from the ESMV COVID relief grant.
So you've gotten ideas just from the concept itself.
Mhm.
Great. But check with Nourishing the North Shore.
Okay.
I just think that's a connection that's already in existence. It's already being supported, which may add quality to your application. Because when you write a grant, they want to see what other monies are coming in or who else is supporting it. And how can their $10 go farther? That's it.
all right. Well,
Cindy,
that's
yeah.
I'll
all.
be happy to be on the committee if we can do it by phone.
What'd you say,
Cindy-
Terry? I'm
I'll
sorry.
be happy to volunteer for a committee.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
All right. And we can
Cindy-
decide if this is something we want to go with once it's researched a little bit further. Is there
I don't think it hurts to go for anything. It's just, that's a learning curve. Like, yes, tomorrow when you go to the meeting, ask how many Council on Agings are going. What's the average grant that they anticipate giving?
Yep. That makes sense to ask those questions. And the availability of grant writers, is there a list of any of them? How did you get your grants? Did you write them yourself, Jerry?
Absolutely. All by myself. And I learned through getting shut down several times.
Yep.
Realizing that when I did a grant, people who give you money are always looking for how far it can go, which makes perfect sense. So
Right.
if there's something already in existence that you can tag on to, it increases their money, if you think of it that way.
Does anybody else have anything to say about
Bill had a
going?
question.
Yeah, I was just thinking, Cindy, I have friends in Boxford,
Mhm.
and they tell me that the Council on Aging in Boxford literally does some grocery shopping for them. They tell them what they're looking for from their home. And I'm not sure if I believe they pick it up at a central location. So there is some kind of a process in existence with the Boxford Council on Aging that would support a program like that.
Okay.
And the other thing is, I mean, I would volunteer to help out with an application, but I was keenly interested to find out, by looking at that application online, to find out how involved are these grants to be written. You know, if they're very complicated or not so complicated. I know we can talk about hiring an external professional grant writer, but you may not need to.
Right. That's why I wanted to look
Joy-
at.
I'm with you, Bill.
Joyce, I signed up for that meeting tomorrow, the questions and
Oh.
answers.
Oh, thank you.
Um,
Did you get your link?
Yeah, I got an email response, so I'm all set. But I would be interested to find out if it's possible to say, can you literally give us examples of grants that other COAs have written that got approved? So we'd have sort of a template that says, oh, this is what they served up for information, and it was successful, it worked. And we'd be able to tell how complicated the process was, or hopefully how easy it is. So maybe that's wishful thinking on my part.
Oh, no, that's great, Bill. And thank you for signing up. I appreciate appreciate it that both you and Cindy have signed up for this, because the more ears that are listening, the better it would be. And I certainly would like not to have a grant writer, but I thought that would be a sort of a large request to put on somebody. But if a group of us got together and thought we could write this together and get all the information, this would be a good way to start.
I agree with that, but I am of the opinion that this is an opportunity for the town of Newbury. And I say that because I think I discussed one time at one of these meetings, the fact that every year there's a grant offered for the fire department to request money that they can use to provide seniors with smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors, so on and so forth, that I believe Newbury has never applied for. And I think Cindy's already talked to Tracy about that already.
Yeah, so it's actually on my calendar for much later this year, close to when that grant needs to be submitted.
Yeah,
But
it's
I
the
can
end
touch
of,
base with Chief Janvrin. It has to come from him, from the fire
yeah,
department.
exactly.
Yes.
So.
But yes, I did reach out to her and I will connect
Oh,
with
and
him.
that's great. There's also a grant opportunity that was in the newspaper a couple of weeks ago for the police department. And I think our chief of police, Lucy, was proud to say that he actually bought one of these high-class fingerprint reading machines that one town got a grant for $18,000. I believe it was Rowley, but Chief Lucy used other funds. I'm not sure what the other funds mean, if it was taxpayers' money or not, but I believe that there's an opportunity for the Newbury Police Department to get involved with grant writing. So we could talk to Tracy about, hey, between the fire department, the police department, and the council on aging, maybe we can make a resident expert in town hall get involved with grant writing.
That's a great idea, Bill.
I like that.
Why don't we do this? Let's listen to that meeting tomorrow and then let's talk. And I think there's enough room in COA that if we could sit there at some point socially distanced and see what we can do with it ourselves. So I think if we get the letter of intent in, let's see, we have until February 12th. So we have plenty of, well, I don't want to say plenty of time. Time goes by so fast. But let's move ahead. So
After,
go ahead, honey. You're muted.
I'm
Cindy.
sorry, I was just gonna say that intent to bid it's very short and sweet. So maybe
Oh.
after we have this meeting tomorrow, just maybe the three of us or however you want to do it, just get
Yeah.
together and,
Well, I think you should
Well,
get that in anyway, right now. I
okay.
don't think you need to wait for the meeting.
Well, you
Right,
need to
so-
identify the type of project you want to do as a pull
What we
down
want to
menu,
do and
and you need to
estimated,
write down how much money it's going to cost. So you just can't
In the
pull it out of
attempt
the
to
air.
bid, they want all of that up
they
front.
do, yeah, the intent they do.
Hmm.
But I mean, it's quick, but two of the main things is how much money do you want and what project are you gonna do?
Okay.
So can you apply for all three?
You
You
can.
can, but you have to send in a separate intent to bid for every project.
One, yeah,
category.
and
You'd
be
have to submit
specific
3.
about what you want.
Well,
Yeah.
I like Jerry's idea because she's correct. And if you're piggybacking with someone else, that's a plus. But I also, I know when the stimulus check was sent out, some of the elderly did buy iPads, and it has really helped them to branch out in an unknown world.
Yes, I can imagine.
So you-
That is wonderful, Evelyn. So, well, we'll discuss all this. We'll listen tomorrow, see what we can get from that. And then if we have more questions, we'll send in written questions and then we'll get our answers. I think it says February 5th, they'll post all the answers online. And then we'll take it a day at a time. We'll just work away at it. So is there anybody else that would like to volunteer to be part of the grant?
Can I just ask a general question as I'm learning a little bit about, Newbury and how things work? Do you all of you, the COE board, does one of you represent us on the Board of Selectmen?
No, it happens on other boards though, but like the planning board has a representative on the Board of Selectmen. And the Board of Selectmen send a representative to the planning board. But
Well, I've been placed as the liaison. for the
Oh,
board.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
oh, sorry, Michael.
okay. Thank you.
I'll have Michael say a few words shortly.
I was curious how the organization.
Yes, that's right. Michael volunteered to do that
Great,
for
that helped
the
me.
CO.
And at the last selectmen's meeting, I brought the board up to date what happened at the meeting with you people the last time. So
Okay,
just a
got
few
it.
minutes of just bringing up to date what's going on. And I think it's really working out nicely.
beautiful.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there any,
Mike, where's the dog?
any-
Where's the dog?
He's
I
he's
asked
on
him
the
earlier.
porch.
okay, so anybody have any questions before we adjourn? And let me remember to set the meeting before we adjourn.
Can I ask one question to Cindy?
Yes.
Cindy, would you people have any use of an iPad that the town owns? See, they gave me as a selectman, I got an iPad that I don't use. And I would be more than glad to give it to somebody in your
We'd love to have it because then we
okay,
can.
so I will clear it with
as
Tracy
an
tomorrow.
option.
I will clear that with Tracy tomorrow, and if I can, I'll deliver it out to you the next couple of days.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Okay? Yep.
Just
So in February, the third Monday is the 15th. So we'll put that down, Sandy, as our next meeting.
Is that a holiday?
Is it?
Is it President's?
Oh, it's got a dot on it. Oh, it's President's Day.
I think, yeah,
Yes.
we're closed.
Okay. Well, do you want to go to the second? Why don't we go to the second where we're doing this grant thing? Let me look. February
8th.
8th. We'll be back here before we know it.
That's good. Well, you're doing the grant, that's good.
Yeah. All right. I want to thank you all. And Michael, did you have anything you'd like to say to the board?
No, really, I'm so impressed with what you guys are doing. And like I said, I'm really happy to be a part of this.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I think it's all a good group and we're doing well.
I think you're doing excellent.
Michael, I have just a procedural question.
Sure, Bill.
When Cindy goes through the review the review of the expenses, is that something that has to be procedurally voted on, and accepted, or?
I don't think it does, but I
No,
will,
it doesn't, Bill. We were told it doesn't have to. We used to
Okay.
vote, but then we were told that the money's already been spent and they just review it and let us know where it went, but we don't vote on it anymore.
Okay, no, that's perfect. I mean, I'm sure.
It's a good question.
I would say though, if our intent was to spend a significant amount of funds, we'd go to you guys first and just kind of you know.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Huge purchase.
Great.
Okay, so Cindy, you've got a couple of things to set up. If you need any help on anything, let me know, like on the Friends.
So Deb Kennedy is swinging by here tomorrow morning.
Okay,
I'm going to chat with her briefly. I have some mail for her. I'm trying to set up a meeting with the whole.
right, right.
I'll let you know when that
I wanted to do it like it's 7 in the morning.
7
Yeah.
a.m. Yeah, because they work.
Would that be better for you to do as a Zoom? So you don't,
I said to them either way, whatever works for them, I'm happy to do a Zoom.
Okay.
But again, they all work full time, so it's a matter of,
Yeah.
They want to do it obviously before they head out to work. Otherwise, it would be like 6 o'clock at night. And I'm sure everybody's tired at the end of their day. So I'm happy to do a 7 a.m. But I told them if they want to come in here, we can spread out, or if they want to
Right.
do it by Zoom, we can do that, whatever's gonna work. I just found out too that the Friends pays for the gas for the van. I didn't realize that. Maggie may have told me that before she left, but Deb mentioned it to me, so I have a bill to give her for that.
That's good.
But we'll just, chat about a few things like that.
And then the other thing is with Jeff. Did you have any questions at all on the time factors?
So are you talking about the space needs? So I
Yeah.
wanted to set up another meeting with us,
Right.
the group, the expansion committee, if you want to.
We want to do a group meeting.
So I do need I need to post an agenda and have 48 hours notice. So the earliest we could really do that would probably be Thursday of this week, unless you want to set something up for next week.
Well, whatever, if he's available, let's do it.
So Tracy told me that we should do a meeting first and come up with whatever questions we have and then go to him.
But I don't see any questions. I thought, did you?
Have any questions or concerns? I think quite honestly, I think there's an awful lot of office space. That's probably not needed. Go ahead, Janine.
So you've gotten a response back from the,
We did. We got an initial drawing. It
Okay.
doesn't show,
It's draft.
yeah, it's a draft.
All
It-
right.
I mean, I think it'd be worth it for us to just do a meeting specifically related to that, so we can kind of talk out our thoughts about it and then go,
Alright.
just because it costs us every time we sit with him, it's, costs money to meet with the consultant, so,
Okay.
so can the rest of us see it as well?
of course.
Okay.
All righty. We'll talk about that then. That sounds great.
All right, so if you want to give me a day and time for next week,
I will.
I'll put out an agenda and send out a Zoom invite, so just let me know.
All right, I will. Well, thank you all, and I think it's time to end the meeting. Thanks, everybody.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
You need a vote, Joyce.
Oh, what, honey?
You need a vote to adjourn the
Oh,
meeting.
I adjourned. Yes, I'm still in thought. Yes, let's take the vote. Thanks for waking me up, Mike. Jerry Dorr,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Evelyn,
Yes.
and Janine.
Yes.
Thank you.
All
Bye
right.
now.
Take care, guys.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.